Good afternoon. Thank you, Tim. I'm not very good at this, but I'll give it a whirl. Just to get you warmed up a little bit, who thinks that the corrugated board industry is a great industry to be in? Put your hands up, please. It's pretty unanimous. Just for balance, who doesn't? There's always one. Who amongst us actually grew up wanting to be in the packaging industry, the corrugated board industry, or were born into it, or perhaps inherited it? There's a few of you. But, how many ended up in the industry by accident, through necessity, or just needing a job, any job? There's quite a few of us. Yeah. And how many transferred into the industry from another industry with a transferable skill, like a salesman or an engineer or something like that? So, thank you. So what that show of hands says is that most of us end up here by accident, and we perhaps ought to be thinking about changing that so that we can encourage our replacements, because that's the problem we've got. We've not got replacements, especially on the factory floor. So my idea, I joined the industry by accident. It was need, I didn't have any money, and parental insistence that I got out of bed and did something. And that's how I ended up in a sheep plant back in 1976. I remember coming to a sheep plant meeting as a manager in the mid-80s, quite a while ago. And now those that you know me, I work with selling machinery and that sort of stuff. But as I travel around the country and the world, I see the difficulty businesses such as ours have finding and keeping good people. At all skill and speciality levels, disciplines and professions, the situation is getting worse. It's getting harder to get people. And I think it's going to continue getting worse. About a year ago, my son, Anthony, called me and asked if I could find a position for one of his students as an apprentice maintenance engineer. I couldn't help him then, but I knew that I ought to give it a try. Tony, as he's called apparently, his colleague Sonia, and two students, George and Evelina, will be joining Steve, or the students will be joining Steve later in the discussion. They are from the Greater Peterborough UTC. It's an academy. In the break, they'll be at my stand, and you can come and talk to them afterwards if you like to. There are a number of similar academies spread across the UK, more if you include traditional sixth forms and regional colleges. GPUTC is one of 45 in the Baker Deering Trust, who I'm looking to try and help, and they've got 45 all around the country, so there's an academy near you. And these are sponsored by some big industries, people like Dyson and JCB, as well as smaller businesses like us in the locality. And they're full of young, eager people like Evelina and George who are desperate for a real career. And I believe that we have that to offer. Our equipment is getting more sophisticated and increasingly automated, but it's relatively easy to operate by the button. In my view, being a bit of a dinosaur, they're easier to work than a smartphone. But underlying box making skills like printing, folding and gluing, die cutting and vital are no less exacting, probably more so than that of an electrician, plumber or motor mechanic. Even the more manual skills, stacking, lifting, feeding, only come through practice and repetition and being handed down through hands-on training, word of mouth and experienced operators. only for them to be lost because Amazon, if I can say that, have opened a factory around the corner and they're paying more money. Skills take time to acquire. Manufacturing, administration, technical support, sales, engineering, design, technology, all require stability and continuity afforded by a satisfied, skilled and stable workforce. In offering a trade, a career and security, we as an industry have something valuable to offer, and it's a secure future to some employees, to future for some employees, are the secure future that some employers are looking for. As an industry, I'm suggesting we should be making overtures and recruiting at all levels directly in academies, colleges, and offer providing worthwhile and meaningful careers, where the staff leave through retirement or go from company to better themselves. The start would be to promote the corrugated cardboard industry. Some of us might remember, maybe not many, that back in the 70s, the army used to do an advert, and it used to advert how many different trades they do outside of actual war fighting. Well, the only fighting we do is in the sponsored bar later, but we have jobs all over. And all over, we are perhaps one of the biggest employers now, because the packaging and paper industries is quite a large organisation. And we have career options to offer. And by engagement with the schools and colleges, highlighting opportunities and the rewards that a quality apprenticeship, maybe even graduate opportunities, because that's the quality of people that they have got. And there's tens of thousands of them all looking for a job. Just as a matter of a point, the gentleman that's talking about AI earlier, and he asked how many people used AI, the two students put their hands up first. They are already trained in all this sort of stuff. So I'm suggesting to you that we should do something about recruiting those people and bringing them on. Just as to round off, who thinks we should do something about something like this? And just for balance, who thinks we shouldn't and just continue as we are? Thank you.